Welcome to episode 3 of Bottom Cog, the podcast that celebrates everything loud, powerful and utterly brilliant in the world of tools and machinery. Today, Josh and I are joined by a very special guest. He is known for his down-to-earth vibe and for shouting today like he is announcing it to the world wherever he is somewhere new. If you are sitting there wondering who the heck we're talking about, well, let's meet him. So here we are joined by Andy Wayne.
Hello.
aka otherwise known as the Fully Charged Gardener.
Or the man that finished a half marathon.
Yeah, yesterday.
Talk about that. I just smacked my knee on this chuffing piece of wood under the table. Doesn't feel too good, to be honest. But there you go.
So Andy, do you want to, just so for people who don't know who you are, explain who you are, where you've come from, what you've done, and you got 10 seconds.
Well, I think we should do it properly. So, welcome to another episode of the Fully Charged Gardener. Thank you very much for tuning in again. I really do appreciate it.
And today,
I shall mostly be hanging around with these reprobates. So I'd just like to apologise in advance for anybody that has tuned into this. I don't think this is going to be a very sensible conversation that we end up having here today, is it?
probably not much.
But no, so yes, my name is Andy Wayne. You may already know me from the Fully Charged Gardener, you may not. Until recently, I used to be a head gardener at a private house, but I've made a bit of a career change, would you say?
Oh, I'd say sort of gamekeeper turned poacher.
You could say that. That would be accurate. Yeah, made a bit of a career change.
Yeah.
Now I've got a part-time job over a full-time job.
He said he didn't when I mentioned it.
No, he didn't.
Because his boss will watch it.
Look forward to receiving that key from your wife tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, it has been, let's just say it's been interesting coming off the tools. No doubt we'll talk about tools at some point during this here podcast. But yeah, it has been a bit of a change. 20 odd years trimming bushes. Yeah. But I'm enjoying it.
Decided to go wild.
What are you doing now? Just shaping on me?
I mean, the local bushes is never going to be the same again. Let's just say.
So today we are going to discuss topics of probably the top 5 gardening tools for this time of year. So coming up to the spring.
Script again? I can't quite see
Your script.
I need glasses, yeah.
So do I. So it's only, we've got to rely on Josh.
Yeah, and with my spelling up.
Yeah. Top 5 tools for the 2025 season in the spring for clearing your garden to start with, because everyone's going to be now looking at what they want to be doing.
Absolutely.
And think about gardening. And it is February now.
And then we're going to look at your brand, aren't we? That you now look after in the UK.
Nothing now.
Not mentioning any names.
Well, we got to keep it subtle, haven't
To
we?
be fair, I had one of these mugs in the last podcast, in the Chainsaw podcast. A bit of a clue as to what was coming
I
next.
just noticed that. They're good mugs too.
Yeah,
aren't
they are good mugs actually. Do you like these?
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Better than your company today, I guess.
Well, I mean, your original guest cancelled at the last minute, and I just so happened to be in the area, so I thought I'd pop in and help
Swing
out.
on by, yeah. He was going down to get his fish and chips, I think, on the way. But...
Yes! Crispies!
So he comes down to see us. and
That's
thinks,
happening.
I'm going to just pop down to Exmouth.
Have you
to
been
get
down?
lunch.
Have you been
Because
there?
Exmouth's like an hour and a half away from here. It's not like it's even local.
Well, how far have I had to bloody travel to get here?
Hour and a half,
Hour and a
I
half.
suppose.
It was a little bit more than that.
Oh, sorry, no, his boss is watching.
yeah.
I left on Friday afternoon,
Yeah, and it's only 8:10 in the morning at the moment.
but you got to get down here for Crispies.
I'm going to have to. What did you say? Battered chips?
Battered chips.
Does that
But not like too much batter, just enough that just hangs on to that salt and vinegar. Buddy.
It's good. Anyone else like battered chips? Or got an
Let
experience
us
with battered
know
chips? Or
in the
Crispies in
comments
Exmouth?
if you've had battered chips before.
Yeah, there we go. I haven't, so I can't comment. But Andy's recommendation.
We should go after
Doesn't sound very healthy.
No.
I got a figure to look after.
Maintain.
Speaking of which, I'm still waiting for them t-shirts. I haven't forgotten.
It was going up in sizes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Bugger. I'll have to let know.
Probably XL now.
Probably.
We ordered them GroundsFest last year and they were smalls then.
To be fair, they're shrinking quite naturally.
Watching you put that on was like, it looked like
You
a baby
weren't
brain.
watching.
Was I not supposed to mention
No,
that?
no, you weren't.
Talking about GroundsFest, that's going to be exciting this year. So we did just announce last week on Machinery Nation that we will be doing Machinery Nation Live again. This year at 2 shows. We will be doing it at the Game Fair. So we've got a large stand at the Game Fair and a large stand at GroundsFest again where we're doing live machinery reviews. And you never know, we might get old Andy here involved in it as well. He doesn't know this yet, so this is like, surprise. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And,
good show that.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was a good
Cracking show.
Definitely. Good evening as well.
Bumper cars. Do you reckon they'll have them again?
Yeah, they've got bumper cars again.
I reckon this year might have to be the year that they let Queen go.
Yeah.
2 years was good.
Yeah.
Do you,
See,
do you have inside information?
I have inside information. Queen, I believe, this is what I was told, Queen are not there this year. It is another band.
So I said,
I know which band it is.
Red Hot Chili Peppers would be good.
What, the actual Red Hot Chili
No.
Peppers?
I don't think GroundsFest budget could afford that. Unless they started charging hands and more for a stand.
Yeah.
Hey,
But Red Hot Chili Peppers, that would be a good band, wouldn't it?
do you know what would
Quite
be
like
good?
The Californication.
Just any of their songs. Really.
I reckon Bon Jovi tribute.
Bon Jovi tribute. Well, I'd like people, again, another thing for the comments below.
Foo Fighters.
What band, what
Foo
tribute
Fighters.
band do you think should be
Dave
at
Grohl.
GroundsFest for the evening entertainment this year? So what should your guess is?
I'm going to say Bon Jovi tribute.
Okay, Josh.
Well, it could be an Oasis or something like that, couldn't it? With all the hype
But
they had
are
recently.
we allowed to swear?
You can swear if you like, I can beep it out.
Like Oasis are beep.
Yeah.
There we go.
I just
They've
don't
had
get
their
it.
time,
I
they've
just
been
don't get
ignored.
it. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay, if people went to GroundsFest last year, or you're going this year, which band would you like to see? Because I'll make sure they watch the videos. They have a bit of inside information from what everyone else has.
Wurzels.
The Wurzels would be good.
Yeah, Wurzels would be good, but quite niche. It'd be only a southern,
three.
southern
It'd be us
three,
three.
wouldn't it?
Well, to be fair, I mean, it's usually only us, what,
That's
12 at the front dancing anyway.
where be that blackbird too. I know where he
be up that Wurzel tree, and I be after I-C-Z, D-C-Z,
Burning, I don't get him.
With a great big stick I'm knocking down. Blackbird, I-B. How's me father?
All right. That was all right. That,
I
wasn't
actually
it?
sung that at Loma.
last
Yeah,
year.
did you? The bloody hall. It was one of the challenges. And I was like, yeah, let's get the worst one out of the way. Do a song in front of everyone. So I starts out and I do "How's me father," and like everyone's going to turn around and go, "All right." No one did.
Just
all right.
It was silent. The NEC has never been so quiet.
You know, when your heart just starts going like that, and like, yeah, this is good, but
What were you doing? If you only watched the audio,
isn't that where your heart sings?
Do you want to swap seats?
I've been sat next to him many a time.
Stop touching my leg.
So Andy keeps
That
pushing the
was-
table leg. It's not. It's mine. This is our temporary podcast studio, and on our vlog channel last night, Find It, Fix It, Farmer, we announced that we have now got planning permission to turn this into proper offices. So this will actually be the kitchen and meeting room in here, and it'll probably be where we'll do our proper podcast. So we've got temporary lights, we've got temporary studio, we've got
A robbed banner.
a robbed banner, and that's actually a curtain behind Josh. So
Am I going to get invited back when it's not a shack and actually proper?
yeah, 100%.
Because I like how you invite me down and tell me how good it's going to be.
This is proper.
I mean, it reminds me actually a bit of my Shedio
Yeah.
from the Fully Charged Gardener.
Check them out on YouTube. When was the last time you done a video?
It passed. It's been a minute.
You were in a video.
But I have
video
been-
the other night in the still video.
Yeah, he was.
I was. It's a good video.
It was a good video. It was only about 2.5 minutes long. I was hoping for it to be a bit longer than
That's
that.
as long as he
That's
lasts.
what she said.
Anyway, right, topical.
We're going to be sensible.
With tools
now.
and machinery. Tools and machinery.
Sensible.
Right, Andy, tell us your top garden clearance tool. I know it's probably going to be quite biased being the job you're in now. Or it might not be. It might not be. For clearing your garden in the spring.
So we're going to ignore this just for a
Alright, we're
minute.
going to ignore
Oh,
that.
turn that
Number
around a
one.
second. Okay.
Number one is a good pair of secateurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
A good pair of secateurs. Don't be tempted by the cheap ones that you see at certain retailers. Invest in a good pair of secateurs.
So for manual secateurs, I would be a Felco fan.
Velcro, yeah, number 7s
Oh.
with the twisty handle.
Okay.
I've had a pair of them for about 20 years.
Is that because you got soft hands, is it? That's twisty hands, so you don't get
Well, they are
blisters.
now. They are now. But yeah, like, because a lot of people don't like the rolly handle. But when you do many cuts, it's surprising actually, with that rolling handle. And it is a bit fiddly the first few times you use it, but they're good. And the older, new wacky one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pricey.
I've got
Pricey.
the red and white handle ones.
That's the ones. Yeah.
I'm a Felco 4-man myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just nice, simple, basic secateurs, although they do desperately need a service. The nice
Well,
thing about Felco is you can send
you
them,
can send them off.
Send them to Felco.
And
Get them done.
I still reckon what they do is they take the ones you send in, they throw them it back, and they put some new ones in the box and send them straight to you.
Even better, I'm going to try it because my grips have worn off.
Do you reckon there's something you could put in there so you'd know that it was yours?
Gives me a little scribe, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do. They
Lemon
honestly,
envelope.
they come back good as new. Fabulous. But yeah, secateurs number 1. That's where you got to start.
Which leads on to a video Josh and I done 3 weeks ago with regards to battery powered secateurs.
I mean, that's
Compare
typical as
before
well,
with-
isn't it? Like, I come out of an industry having had to actually work, not like these softies that do it now, and everything's powered. Got your battery snips, got your
Which
battery
lasts a bloody
pruners.
lifetime.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone particularly you like? Have you tried a few or have you...
Well, I have to say that the stihl ones is marvellous. Marvellous they are.
Nicest thing I love
In
about
fact,
stihl
I
is
think-
the size of the girth.
I would hesitate to say, because I don't know if it's factually correct, but I wouldn't be surprised if the blades on that stihl one aren't Velcro ones.
Oh.
They look very similar.
Oh, okay. Well, as the battery Felco ones or...
No, as the stihl one, it looks like the blade
Is
on
it?
a
Oh.
pair of Velcros.
Alright.
Just put a note there, might not be.
Mind you, if you're going to design a blade, I would probably copy Felco's blades if you're
Absolutely.
going to copy them. So
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Nice and easy to sharpen. Because a lot of people faff with the sharpening on them. But you've got to look at a blade as a wearing part. So, you know, it's better to just, whatever you can use to sharpen fast. I used to use a Dremel because it was quick.
Yeah.
And people are like, you can't do that, you'll ruin the blade.
You've got to use a
If you're
stone.
out and about and you got a Dremel and you can sharpen it in 30 seconds, you're going to sharpen it more often. And sharp is key. Sharp and clean, because you want good clean cuts on anything you're pruning, because you don't want to leave it open for risk of disease and bits and pieces like that. So good clean cut.
And for fatigue on your hands as well. As a
Well,
sharp,
yeah, because
sharper
more
they are,
resistance.
the easier it's
Yeah.
going to be able to use.
Absolutely.
Cool. Right, Josh, your top tool for garden clearance
Tool.
in the spring.
Well, I'm going to go for battery-powered pruners, as in zzz, like little hand saws, like hatchets, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, little mini chainsaws.
Because after getting that Milwaukee one I had for Christmas, it's a bloody good tool,
Yeah.
and it's really handy.
Yeah, 'cause
You know those
You got the M12 one, didn't you?
I got the M12.
I got the M18 one.
those jobs that you think, oh, I'll just pick up the chainsaw. You know, you kind of want to hold it one-handed because it's too small and it's going to move or it's down on the ground. You can just have that little hatchet and just cut. You know, you don't always start up a petrol chainsaw.
Just makes everything efficient.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Makes everything efficient. And I reckon, and I know a lot of people when they see those little powered pruners, they think they're dangerous. But I tell you what, and you guys will probably agree with me. Any time you use a silky, you turn around and you're like, where's all that blood come from? And it's like, oh, it's me again. I don't think I've ever taken a silky out of the pouch and not had to
Not
put
okay,
plaster on
Do
at
you-
some stage.
Do you know, I bought a Silky same time as I got those Japanese secateurs because obviously they were distributed by Silky in the UK, those Milwaukee's. And I think I only ever have used that Silky saw twice. And that is cutting off the bottom of a Christmas tree. Put it in a stand.
Yeah.
I've never used it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's still in the case in the van.
Yeah, I mean they
Whereas the
are.
hatchet is now, I get that out every single time.
Now, my favourite top garden clearance tool for the spring of the garden is a combi tool or a multi-tool. Because you've got one tool that can do a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
So you've got your long reach hedge trimmer, for trimming anything which is high up or low down, because you can use it as a bramble clearer as well. You can use
Cutting
your little,
back herbaceous borders as well
Yeah.
with it, yeah.
yeah, you can use your chainsaw on a pole saw, to be able to cut branches back. You've got the shribber on it.
Sweeper.
You can put a sweeper on it, yeah, sweep up all the paths and all the leaves, all the debris that's gathered up over the winter. And, well, there's a multitude of different tools you can put on a multi-tool.
Yeah.
And I've said before, when people start gardening businesses, or when they go out to begin their journey in becoming self-employed into gardening, that a combi tool is generally the best thing to go for to start.
Oh, first tool.
A lawnmower and a combi tool can go a blooming long way to doing lots of different jobs, and as their businesses progress, they can then think, right, okay, I'm doing a lot more trimming now. Let's keep my combi tool to hedge trimming and for pole work, and then I can have a separate trimmer for that job. Also, it's only one engine to service, and much easier to maintain, and that could be battery or petrol.
This is true.
Yeah. So I thought it was quite a good idea for my top tool for garden clearance.
Yeah.
Any other advances on other tools for garden clearance?
So another one, again, going back to Niwaki, they make a little sickle, similar to like you'd see people using like rice paddies. It's just a
like a
curved
round-
blade.
round
So
thing,
if you've
yeah.
got, you're cutting back geraniums or anything herbaceous, you can grab hold of it and just,
Yeah.
again, got to watch the bloody fingers. But again, just speeds up the process.
So,
So,
while we're
handy
talking
bit
about these sharp hand tools, would you like
Yes.
to show your show and tell? Would you like to show that one?
It's a bit of an explosive product, but yes.
Would
you
you like to
could
show
do.
that?
Well, Alex,
Would you like
get
to
that. Going back to your sickle,
Yeah.
have you seen Stihl make a sickle on a pole, and it's designed for cutting palm trees as a palm cutter?
Yes, I
And
have.
it's like it's like a hook that vibrates, and it cuts the bottom.
Yeah. So this year that I'm about to show you is a worldwide exclusive. Not even for sale nowhere.
No, I think I know somewhere where you show it first, and I'll tell you where I've seen it before.
Okay. How do I just give him a flash?
Yeah, give him a flash. There we go. There we go.
That's all you're gonna get.
I'll try and overlay it like a closer shot of that.
Slow mo.
Do you want to
Free frame.
Yeah, nice try.
Which just to be a nice lead into what Andy's doing now as well. In a minute. So,
Go on then, show the viewers. Look at that.
So our knife supplier, what was that? APF. I said to them, it'd be awesome if we had some hands and knives, as in proper kitchen knives. And they only went and bloody made them. They even engraved them for us. I won't show you the name on here, but they did engrave them for us. That's pretty cool.
James
isn't it?
Hayes and Joshua Smith. Oh, that's very
Yeah,
good of you.
I know.
It's mine in the van as
Yeah.
well.
does that make it mine?
Bloody cool though, isn't it?
Mm.
And you got some weight
It
to it.
is bloody good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I said to you earlier, it's like the Yorkie of knives, isn't it?
The Yorkie
It
of
is.
knives.
Yeah.
you
not
got
for girls.
Unbelievable. This is an inclusive podcast, John.
I hope you've got a good legal team there because he's just
Yeah.
gone and buggered
The
it.
problem is he's health and safety and legal.
When did life become legal?
Our legal people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
When I was
legit
16.
to me.
No,
Nothing
but
to
on
see
about
here,
where I've seen
officer.
that before. I'm sure I've seen that on Teemu before. Absolutely certain.
Seeing you.
You can get them for £3.50 delivered.
Yeah, but this is a Hansa one, so this is a quality one, you see.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah. But this is what I do like about the new job is when you know, a little bit of banter with your suppliers and stuff like that happens, which is just
Yeah,
amazing.
it's good,
isn't it?
Come out the bag and actually produce something for
Just
you.
to see what these manufacturers can do.
And then there's other manufacturers who you say, oh, this would be a really good idea, and you tell them about 20 times with a case of 10 years, and they still do nothing about it. There's plenty of them about.
So you're after one of these, we'll put the link in the description.
$1 million.
It's just Andy's phone number.
Oh, bugger. In that case, we'll get rid of me.
Right, we need one more good garden clearance tool.
So it's got to be,
It has got to be, hasn't it?
it's got to be a chipper.
A good chipper.
A good
Got to be a
chipper.
chipper. Quality
Sorry.
chipper.
Good chipper. Good
Editor.
Yes, sir.
But in all seriousness, like, we take so much out of our gardens. We really do. And if we can put, like, say, 60-70% of that back in the garden, we're on to a winner. Because soil is the key, without sounding too cheesy, is the key to life. And putting back in what we're taking out, you know, in terms of helping with soil structure, you know, that mycelium that's going on underneath there. It's a whole ecosystem underneath there, and chipping stuff and putting it back in the garden, although bonfires are cool. I do like a bonfire.
Yeah. When it's
So,
a decent dry day.
Yeah, anything that's above the capacity of your chipper, you're allowed to burn. But yeah, getting it back in the soil, and whether it be as a mulch, mixing it in with your compost. A lot of people think that wood chip, you can't put it in your compost because it's a little bit too chunky. That's absolute rubbish. Mix it in there. Lots of people have the big old sloppy heap, don't they? Just grass clippings. Get some wood chip mixed in there. Make all the difference. The air-filled porosity.
There we are.
That's what
There's
you
some
want.
terminology for you now.
Yeah.
If you keep taking everything out of the soil and not putting anything back, and then people wonder why they're, my beds and borders don't look like they
Well,
used to.
you end up with the same situation that, dare I say, a vast amount of agriculture's ended up with. People start putting modern man-made substitutes on there, which you don't necessarily need. If you feed your ecosystem and look after it properly with a chipper and putting stuff back on there, it makes all the difference.
And I think actually chippers have really come into their own, especially in the last few years, because of especially compost and the reduction in peat as well. If you can get all that sort of stuff into your compost and soil that retains moisture.
Or in my case, at the last place I worked that started doing weddings, apparently it was rude having a massive bonfire blowing smoke across when someone's saying I do.
It's atmospheric, isn't it?
So, that's what I thought. Yeah. It was like having a smoke machine, wasn't it?
So that leads on to this, and Andy, tell everybody about what you're doing now. So what's your
So my official title is Business Development Manager for Aspen Products UK. So basically that means, at the moment, doing just a little bit more than that, I think I would say. But basically I'm looking after everything Hansa UK. So covering the whole of the country, going and speaking to dealers, building a network of dealers and building relationships on that. Doing product demonstrations, coming hanging out with people like you. But the key thing that we want to do with Hansa UK is have a bit of fun with it. We know we've got quality products, and again, it's just if we can encourage people to use our machines and put back into their gardens, that's really important to us. And our key thing is we're a family business, and we want to work with other family businesses, and working with guys like you, supporting channels is really important to us as well. It's just, how do I put it? We don't want to be stiff and corporate.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have some fun. So if anybody does ever want a demo, just give me a shout. We can work it out.
So they're New Zealand made products?
They are made in New Zealand, North Island, New Zealand.
And then shipped over here to UK and Europe?
Yes.
To be sold and distributed by yourselves?
Yes.
Now, we know that your range starts from small, sort of medium-sized electric.
Right from an electric. Yeah.
So that's, 40 mil-ish?
50.
50 mil? 50 mil electric up to, 5-inch?
Yeah, the C21 PTO and road tow, which you may have seen on the channel before. Just... The key thing with our machines is they're very simple machines. You basically got a flywheel, and depending on which model you go for, you've got 2 blades. They do draw the material in, so they're nice and efficient to use.
It's all gravity fed.
Yeah. Over in New Zealand and Australia, which I do sulk about, we do make some really big ones. We got them on tracks with a remote control, but they won't let me. They don't trust me.
Because over there, their pro stuff is black and yellow, isn't it?
Yes.
And then more domestic stuff is green.
Yeah. And actually saying that with enough patience, obviously, because they're made in New Zealand, if a customer did want to request a specific colour, we can make that happen. But obviously there's quite a lead time coming from all the way over in New Zealand. But the thing for me is, I was at the last place for best part 14 years. When we first moved there, my daughter was a tiny baby, so she grew up there. And I've been there all that time watching the garden develop. And it does sort of become your own garden. So to walk away from that, it took the right company to persuade me to do it. Massive change, moving my daughter and everything, because we lived on site as well. So it wasn't just moving job, it was moving home and everything.
Moving the whole life, really. Isn't it?
Yeah. So to go and work for a family company who would, make good products. And it was also keeping one foot in the industry. Similar to what you guys have done. You've done a shift, but you're still within the industry. So yeah, it's been a big change, and I'm enjoying it. and they haven't fired me yet, so I must be doing all right. Yeah.
Say it was all right.
Still got the yet bill, yeah. They're going to keep you hanging on the end.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it.
That's great. That's good. Now, now I don't know if it's a myth or whether it's correct information, that I'm going back a little bit, back from hands to chips now, going back to the garden side of things. Now, I think Andy's the best person I know to answer this, because you've
didn't do it.
been a head gardener for many years, and you're now distributing chippers across the country. Now, people say when you chip up virgin timber and then put it onto your flower beds, you should actually leave it in a pile to slightly decompose or to rot down slightly before putting it on your beds and borders.
So
now I'd like to know a little bit more why.
Yeah, so that is more important for things like softwood, because it can have an effect. For number one, it obviously as it decomposes, it heats up. Softwood will heat up fast. If you put a heap of oak wood chips in a pile and a heap of pine in a pile, that one will start steaming first, just because of the way they are, amount of moisture that they hold. So ideally, you would want to add it to a compost heap and mix it with other stuff. Or if you are going to do it, like you say, leave it in a big heap, because it will heat up. The other thing as well with softwood, can be quite acidic, so it can have more of an effect on the soil. If you are going to use it as a mulch on your beds fresh, you can do it, spread it around the soil, but you would want to leave an area around the base of the plant. You wouldn't want it right up against the trunks or something. So you can use it direct, but ideally you'd want to let it rot down a little bit. Because if you watch as well as it starts to rot, like I say about the mycelium, you'll see the growth in the mycelium happening. But the best thing to do is use it as an ingredient in a compost heap along with everything else.
And is that the same? Like say we've got ericaceous soil, would that be the same, or ericaceous plants?
So you wouldn't need to be as cautious about it, because obviously it's adding to the acidity of the soil. So if you do have a lime soil and you put a load of pine on there, you could affect the pH balance of the soil. It's all science.
It's all science.
And that's part of the reason why, like, grab a book on soils. Once you start reading into it, it is fascinating.
And to have your soils tested and have a look,
that's
pH
the thing,
test
yeah.
and everything, so you actually know what soil you've got.
Yeah.
To know what you can put onto your beds and borders to make sure that you're creating the right beautiful loam that you need to grow.
I mean, most people should be doing that anyway. Like when you start in a new garden, or you get even just down to an allotment, if you get soils tested, because you don't know what the bugger before has been doing.
No, that's right.
You know, the old burn pile with a load of plastics on there. And
chap behind the camera's got an allotment, so you'll be ordering a pH test.
Yeah, I mean, the test kits that you can get now, compared to what you'd get 10 years ago, are amazing, actually. Yeah.
Just simple.
I think,
dip in the test tube and test the soil.
Those are the basic ones. Yeah. I mean, you can even get the probes that you put in, and it will just tell you on a little dial. They're not overly accurate, but they'll give you a rough idea of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, those ones you just stick in the ground, don't you?
Yeah. That's the way. I mean, in order to test what the soil's like, it is better to stick it in the soil than just have it waving in the air.
Or in your mouth.
If we all do it though, because if there's a probe, you do it though, isn't it? It's the same as like your temperature probe for your barbecue. I don't know about you, but you stick it in there just to see how.
Oh no, as long as there's flames going, it's fine.
Oh yeah, is that temperature? Oh, back in the middle.
I got a question. I think it's quite apt for this time of year as well.
Yeah.
Everyone prunes roses differently.
So
how do you prune yours?
At the bottom.
So roses, I prune according to what type of rose it is.
Yeah. Climbers or shrub or whatever.
A common one is people will mix up rambling roses and climbers, and that can, if you're working for a customer or a client and you get that wrong, that could be embarrassing for some people. But I mean, the same with any plant, regardless of roses, is like you start with the basics. You want to remove any dead, diseased or damaged wood as your basics, and then you would work to looking at the framework of a plant. Roses can be a little bit different again between ramblers and climbers, but any crossing branches, so if you're talking about fruit trees and bits and pieces like that, crossing branches where they can rub together. Roses would be a little bit different on that, because for years and years and years, people would be talking about roses and not tying them together because they'll rub.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lady on the internet, Jenny, who does the most amazing sculptures with rambling roses, and she breaks a lot of the rules that you were taught early on. Do not put, tying together, don't do this. And she does them in these massive swirls and creates sculptures that are just incredible. But yeah, the basics is just opening up the framework, letting air flow. But again, with roses, that you sort of caught me out on that one, because I could talk about that for quite a bit. It depends on what type of rose you're pruning as to how you would do it. But yeah, start with the basics: dead, disease, damaged wood, crossing branches, and then obviously think of the shape that you want to create ultimately.
So you got rambling, bush. Do you call it bush rose?
Shrub, and
You can get bush roses.
Bush rose, yeah.
There's
Climbing
roses, hybrid teas, Old English roses.
What about cutting at angles? Because I've never worried about cutting at an angle.
So the thing with the whole sloping cut away from the bud is the idea being that moisture will flow
Drain away,
away from it, and that's classic. So if you've got a flat surface, water will sit on it, and that can help infection. So it's just.
So it's interesting you say that, because I watched a David Austin video the other night.
See, this is why he's quizzing me on roses. He's done all his
and they weren't too worried about it, to be honest.
No, so angles. This is the thing.
But again, I used to do angles, but the last few years I'm probably.
It's also leaving enough stem for it to die back a little bit, isn't it? So it's not.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. So if you remember a few years ago, there was a big thing where everybody started cutting their roses with hedge trimmers, because, to be fair, a lot of roses are tough as old boots, and it doesn't matter where you cut them; they'll grow back. But a lot of it is to do with aesthetic. Like if you prune something, you can, with most plants, to be fair, you can just hack at. Well, you've only got to look at your local supermarket car park pruning, haven't you? Really, or the petrol
dog
station.
roses.
Yeah, they just hack at them, and the plant will survive. But and this is the thing that I'm going to have a little bit of a rant here, because I think it is something that's been lost over the last few years, and it drives me nuts. Like, the whole point of gardening is to make something look nice, and dare I say we've lost a little bit of that. Like, it seems to be like just this thing of like, whip over it, the grass is cut. It's shorter than it was. The fact that it looks horrible, there's wheel ruts in it, and there's freaking grass clumps left all over it, but the grass is cut. Like, the whole point of cutting the grass is to make it look better than it did before. It looks nice. The same as when you prune a shrub. Yeah, you can do it with a hedge trimmer, but learn how the shrub grows, learn when it flowers, and again, go in there with a pair of secateurs and just so make it look like you haven't pruned it. That's again, like hedges and topiaries, a bit different on that, but with a shrub, make it look like you haven't pruned it. Cut a third out or whatever, and just sloping cuts near to a bud, so you don't get that chunk of wood that's going to die back. Yes, just take pride in your work. But yeah, that really does get me, because you just, especially being on the road like I was, because I didn't get out a lot before. For those 13 years, living and working on site, I didn't get out very often, which is why I'm a bit socially awkward, to be honest, because I didn't see many people. But yeah, just getting out and about, and I see stuff now, and I'm driving past, and I think I need to pull over
and give them a.
Because I do always have a pair of secateurs in the van.
Just to give someone that lesson
and
they
need.
You
see some of it, and you just think, oh my days, what is going on here?
So
bring back the days of pride in your work. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Favourite, just one of Josh was about roses, but what's your favourite climbing plant?
Wisteria.
Oh, it's a wisteria. He's a wisteria man.
Yeah.
So I'll be a hydrangea petiolaris guy.
Yeah. Don't know what he's talking about there. No. No, the thing is with a wisteria again as well, it's like you see so many of them that have been badly pruned for years and years and years, and they're 6 foot off the building and just the right mess. If you get them trained nice and laterally, 12 to 18 inches apart on the laterals, so when the flowers flower, it all just looks really smart and neat. Yeah, looks fabulous.
Quite topical, because last time you came down, my wife decided to get the ladder out and start.
That's very true. I'd forgotten about
Yeah.
that. I couldn't help myself, could I? I was like, "What you don't do it like that. You do it like this."
I'm just glad
Outcomes and secretaries.
I'm just glad Andy was here to tell her what to do, because it went down a lot better than it would have if I had tried.
I think she was being very polite. I think secretly she was just like, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah, head
But-
trimmer.
Long reach combi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
But then Wisterias are lovely, aren't they? But they only really look nice for like 3 weeks of the year, don't they?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've got against Wisteria, I think.
But I mean, they can be brutes for sure. If you've got an old cottage or something and you plant one, you might end up with the roots coming up through your slabs in your living room if you're not careful. The speed at which they go up into roofs, underneath roof tiles. I worked at a place once upon a time. I won't say where it was, but I'd not been there very long, and the previous gardener hadn't made a very good effort, and this wisteria was all up in the roof. And I phoned the maintenance man 20 minutes before I started, and I said, "You better get your scaffold ready, because I'm not even going to attempt to be gentle on this." And I had my hard hat on, and I cut all these bits on this one end, and I just went like that. And there must have been 20, 25 roof tiles come off of there. But I got the bugger out. And
You done your job.
when we investigate, not only had it gone under all the roof tiles, but it gone in underneath the felt. And same as like when you force rhubarb, you ever seen like that?
Yeah.
Like triffids, all up in the loft.
Get on.
Yeah, and that's where he discovered there was quite a big wasp's nest in there as well. Yeah.
Right.
So you were a flower man. Were you a veg man as well? Do you like your veggies?
It's just like being back at Picton, isn't it? Like, because they all take the piss out of the gardens.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I started my career. I started my career in
love our
gardening.
vegetables, so
I like growing vegetables.
yeah.
Vegetables are fabulous. Like going back to Uri, just my daughter, when she first learnt to walk, she used to come down into the vegetable garden and she used to make a beeline for the raspberries and the strawberries. Like, you could tell where she'd been because there was like box hedges all around the edge of the veg bit, and any raspberries that was sort of like 2 foot above the hedge,
It's like a moth coming
like
through,
it was
isn't
gone. Loads up here, nothing all across there. And she'd have raspberry juice all up there. I'd be like, "Have you been pinching the raspberries?" No.
No. But the gooseberry bush is still
Bring up,
untouched.
bring up.
Funnily enough, the boss had an Airedale, one of them big fluffy woolly dogs, and he used to go along and he'd suck the raspberries off and leave the little pith in the middle, the little white bit. He just got to brilliant to watch.
Sheffy, there won't be raspberries.
Yeah,
on
that's
the next
basically
weekend.
yeah. But no, I used to, definitely love growing fruit and veg. I think it's the most satisfying part of gardening, and it's really cool as well with your kids. If you want to get kids involved in gardening, grow something with them that they can actually eat.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, they want to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back, takes about to 2020 in COVID was probably my favourite year of my life.
Yeah.
Because we're at home, we're very fortunate enough to have a big enough garden to be able to grow veg. I've grown veg all my life.
Yeah.
And to then take your kids who what were they, 7 and 9 at the time? No, 7 and 6 and 8, something like that at the time, and to show them and to teach them how to grow veg and have a 8 metre by 8 metre plot of just brassicas going all the way up through from kohlrabi right up to your Brussels and everything, and to show them your planting, your protection, and harvesting it right the way through that season was just an absolute pleasure. And it's just it's nice, and they know how they've got the bare bones to be able to go and do that themselves for the rest of their life.
Exactly. And I think if and I know it's not possible for large parts of the country, if you're in a city or whatever, it can be very difficult. But if more and more kids were growing vegetables and understood that they don't come out the ground perfect, like we grew up on a farm that grew spuds, like the amount of potatoes that get thrown away, absolutely nothing wrong with them, but they just don't meet that perfect supermarket shape and size. Like, we used to throw them away because they were too big. Nuts, isn't it? We used to get jacket potatoes like this. Like, you put them in the oven for like 2 days and you put a fork in it and it's still raw in the middle. So it's like big fucking jackets. But if kids were actually growing stuff, they'd have more of appreciation. Like, you see the wonky veg in the supermarket. That's just normal vegetables. Crying out loud, and just, it would help.
But you say that, you say it's not that easy for people to do it, across country. Anyone can get a pot of soil
This
and
is true.
sprinkle some lemon salad leaf seeds in or something like that.
You can grow tomatoes in an old tomato tin.
We're just starting from cress.
Cress, cress is an egg
on the
or
windowsill,
or
right up.
cotton wool and
People like Alex who've now got an allotment.
And there is a thing as well. It's like it does genuinely taste better. Like it's a common misconception, like you see with a lot of people when you're buying fruit and veg in the supermarket. It's like if you see bag of spinach in the supermarket, you're better off going to the frozen section and buying the frozen spinach in a ball than eating that, because that has been picked and frozen, so it's still got more nutrients than the so-called fresh.
Well, it's the same with all the fresh veg, isn't it? It's picked when it's not ripe. It's then sat in that crate for 4 or 5 days.
Don't even get me started on those avocados. You must have done it. When you go in the supermarket, you pay that extra 50p for the ready-to-eat avocados, and you go and cut into it. It's like a cricket ball.
It doesn't do it for me, avocados. It's like mushy old green sludge.
I don't mind a bit of that.
I quite like avocado, as long as someone cuts it up for me.
Would you like it spoon-fed food as well?
Well, now we've got an offer.
I got a knife to chop it up.
You have very much so got a knife to chop it up. Which leads me back to machinery.
We did go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Okay, I could have gone talking about
you're in charge of the script, though.
Vegetables all day long. Well, Josh is meant to be in charge of the script because I can't read it because I haven't got my glasses on.
Oh, we covered everything on that now. We're just waffling.
I think we could definitely squeeze chippers in a few more times into the conversation.
Chippers. All right, this is about chippers. This is good. Now, I don't know if Andy is going to actually answer this question or not.
It's bigger than
But let's say let's put Hamza to one side.
Yeah, get on.
Which chipper would you be most lean towards?
Good old GHE 105.
I'm just thinking about his job contract now. Can I mention this or not?
So I'm going to answer this the most diplomatic way possible, right?
Here we go.
And it doesn't matter what I think. It's about buying the right chipper for you.
God, you a politician?
So it's all about
Come on, Kia, spit it out.
buying. Not going to put taxes up. Honest. Buying the right machine for you. There's, it's the same as us as a company. It's no good us trying to force a machine onto somebody that doesn't suit their situation. Do you see what I mean?
I think it's a perfectly good answer.
Yeah. So buy the chipper that meets your needs.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the brand, this is going to get me in trouble. Sorry, boss. But that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And there's with us as a company, there's no point forcing the machine on somebody because they're going to come back grumpy 6 months later.
Yeah, and it's the same as we've always said with regards to years ago when we were a dealer, and people would come in saying, right, I've got £500 to spend on a chipper, or they've come in saying, oh, I've seen these little electric chippers, we'd like one. And as soon as someone says electric chipper, they mean like a little tiny shredder you get, which could have been like a Bosch years ago.
Bosch road
or something. Exactly.
Yeah,
and people go, oh yeah, I really like one, do you sell them? And then we're like, you just don't want to. You just don't want to waste your money on it. Either spend, save up a little bit more and get something that's going to do the job, rather than just feel completely pained that you're cutting things down nearly as small as they need to be once they're coming out the chipper, not going into them.
I mean, a good example is when I was at Uridge, we bought a Hansa, regardless of what the trolls used to say on social media. That's another thing that used to make me laugh, is how people get mad about stuff on the internet. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. But we bought the C7.
It's the same with any brand though, isn't it, really?
But I wanted the C21 because just want the biggest and the best. But we ended up with the C7 because we could take it around 90% of the garden. So we were taking the chipper to the material rather than the other way round, which made it more efficient. So you could be pruning stuff straight into the chipper, into the wheelbarrow, and then it's less trips down to the compost heap and bits and pieces. So it's about getting the machine that works best for you.
Yeah.
And a lot of these chippers, you know, they are premium products, aren't they, at the end of the day? So they are one of those tools that you probably only going to ever buy
investment.
once
Yeah.
in your lifetime. So you might as well spend the money instead of
Especially when a
spending it
company
buying something twice or
gives you
three times.
a comprehensive 3-year warranty.
Who's that? Oh, Hansa.
Have you tried putting a warranty claim in? Let us know.
Oh, yeah, I deal with the warranty claim, so good luck with that one.
Reject.
User error.
But that's the other thing as well when you're looking at buying a machine, is looking at small details like that. You know, which companies are offering a good warranty, because a good warranty is a sign that that a manufacturer has faith in their product.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got to look after it. Same as the knives there, keep the knife sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Same as a chainsaw in it.
Yeah.
That's one thing we get asked all the time. How long will the blades last? Well, it depends what you put in there.
Yeah.
If you chuck a piece of rebar in there, it's not going to stay sharp very long.
No, very, very true.
And believe you me, people do it.
Yeah, so the other day, we put your Hansa C21 onto a little Izeki TXG
24? TXGS 24, yeah.
TXGS 24, which is 23 horsepower tractor. And your Hansa chipper is rated at 22 horsepower to 40 horsepower suitability. And I wasn't sure whether it was going to run well, I didn't know it was going to run at all, to be quite honest, on there. And it handled it like a beast. So if you've got a small, compact tractor, it really does show that you know the advantages of that to have a PTO machine to put on the back. And,
Absolutely.
you know, I was putting oak through that, and it was hardly missing a beat. Well, it didn't miss a beat. You know, there's such a bottom end torque in that little Izeki tractor.
And the fling out the other end as well.
Yeah.
You're probably chucking it 8 foot. Might have been more.
More than that.
We were directing it down. If you
Yeah.
you know, that was some effort coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish I put it into a trailer now and put it right into my beds and borders.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. It's good.
Mix it into your compost heap.
Yeah. So Andy, we're probably dragging on there a little bit. On the old
Well,
podcast.
I didn't want to say anything.
No, yeah, it
goes-
felt like 4 hours.
Crispies is cooler.
I was going to get us fish and chip.
Hour and a half. He goes, cool, what time is it now?
I'll tell you what. Bloody good.
Anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to include before we wrap it up?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. I was just wondering which one of you two do I send the invoice to for the appearance? Because fully charged gardener's not cheap.
That's good to know.
Sorry, as long as it cancels out the videos we're going to do this year for you, it's fine.
Oh, hang on a minute. Reel that back in, Josh. Reel that back in. Reel that back in.
It's the secret.
I'm just poker facing. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, that's...
So there'll be a different brand of chipper on our standard GroundsFest this year.
fine. If you want to lower your standards, you go ahead. I mean...
Go straight to the bottom of the barrel now.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that other brand that's on the phone the other day?
There's an orange one. Well,
Was
they're
it?
all orange up there.
They're not chippers.
Are they not?
No.
Shredders.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got a nice big access flap underneath because you spend your entire time unclogging them. So they put a nice big flap to make it easy to unclog every 2 minutes.
Now he's doing the sales pitch.
I remember when I'd done a video on 4 different chippers. This was probably like 3 years ago, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good little video, that was. Yeah, I also remember unblocking the handlers, right? No, I unblocked all of them. I think all of them had to get unblocked.
The thing is, so that does tie in, actually, is just a little thing, is people don't seem surprised when a lawnmower gets clogged up with wet material binding on the side, but yet they seem surprised when a chipper does it.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, isn't it?
But that is
Whatever
generally down to user error of what you're putting through it.
It is.
On all chippers. You can block all chippers, doesn't matter what it is.
have a mixed material going through.
No, definitely.
But no, on a more serious note, just thank you very much for having me along and let me ramble on
Yeah.
and just highlight some of the changes that have happened in the last year.
And as our first guest on our podcast, obviously this is all new to us.
Well, that's only because
You know?
the original guest cancelled. I mean,
Yes.
I know how these things work. But
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get me back on when we're actually in a proper studio.
With proper heating as well.
Well, yeah, I did have to put my bloody lumberjack shirt on.
I wasn't even going to wear this jacket on this podcast. I've done the intro with it this morning. I thought, bugger, I've got to wear it now, haven't I?
You've got to keep it consistent for the. Is this listeners or viewers?
Both.
Both, yeah.
Both, yeah. Yeah, we should have probably told you that before. So I can apologise to any people who are listening to this.
So I send two invoices.
That all of Andy's hand actions you've missed out on.
So podcast invoice and a video invoice.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Proper job.
No worries at all.
So I'd just like to say thank you very much for tuning in again. We really do appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one.
On this episode of The Fully Charged Gardener.
Cheers then. Bye.
Cheers then, bye.
Cheers.
Right, who's making coffees?